Drunk fiancée confessed her male best friend was out of her league, so I broke up with her and cancelled the wedding. Now she's in tears. My fiancée, 26 female, and I, 26 male, were dating for 5 years, and we got engaged last year. We were supposed to get married this September. My fiancée also has a best friend, 26 male. She's been friends with him since they were kids, and he is one of her close childhood friends. Their close friendship admittedly made a bit insecure, but I kept it in, and didn't express those feelings to my fiancé. Last week, my fiancé and I were having a romantic dinner, and we were pretty drunk, and talking about life and our friends. My fiancé then admitted that she did not get with her best friend because he was out of her league. It felt like a bullet pierced my heart. My fiancé saw my reaction and she instantly changed the topic. Yes, her friend is admittedly a good-looking dude. He looks like an Italian model and he could probably even get accepted in a modeling agency. But when my fiancé told me that the only reason she didn't date him was because he was out of her league, that broke my heart. I felt worthless and dejected because I've been dating her for 5 years. We were supposed to get married in a few months. We had made life plans, and it all felt like a mirage, a lie. The next morning, my fiancé apologized for saying what she said the previous night, and that she didn't really mean it. But I told her I needed some time to think and process everything. We barely spoke for the next few days, and my fiancé tried to make it up and apologize many times. But mentally I was too far gone. Last night, I told her I couldn't do it anymore, and I broke up with her. My fiancé was shocked. She was crying a lot and even shrieking, and it hurt me a lot. The emotions are all a bit raw now. I've given my fiancé as much time as she needs to move out. Am I the idiot? Relevant comments. First, you're not the idiot whatever you decide to do. And I'm sorry you had that experience. I can definitely see why it was hurtful. I do think these things can be more complicated than they feel. Think of it this way. It is likely the case that if you were way more attractive, you would have ended up with someone else. Does that mean you don't actually love the girl you've been with for the last 5 years? Probably not. This experience has been hurtful to you precisely because you did love her. In the same way, it might be counterfactually true that she would have ended up with her friend if she was better looking or something. But that doesn't necessarily mean she didn't actually love you. Real life and real love are both messy. You might be with the person you're with because the prior person cheated on you. Or they might be with you because they met you before they met someone else they would have ended up dating if the order were reversed. Those types of counterfactuals are true in essentially every relationship. A lot of why we love who we love is just accident, even if we don't like to think of it that way. But I still get why what she said hurt to hear. And I also understand why. Having heard it, it changed the way you feel. All of our relationships might be accidental, but you can't tell the other person that without damaging your relationship. Not the idiot. At any time if that friend decided he wanted to try her out, she would have done it. Married or not, you're just one step ahead of the inevitable affair. Only way to fix this currently is if she cuts him out of her life, which sounds like a crappy thing, but it's the only way. Even then there may be a chance she will secretly keep in touch with him, which when caught later on will definitely show what you are worth to her. So don't give an ultimatum, just a choice, him or you. Her immediate reaction will be the fuel you need to go forward either way. Not the idiot. I wouldn't be with somebody who was actively best friends with someone they would have got with given the opportunity, which is essentially what she said. Story 2. So, I have been dating my girlfriend for about 6 months now. She has a lot of guy friends that, even though I don't like, I let her have because they are her only friends. However, she has one guy friend that she used to like before she liked me, and now it turns out he likes her. I don't feel comfortable with her having him as a friend because he has wanted and made her do things such as holding his hand or giving him a hug. And he has asked for these things while knowing she was in a relationship with me. Unfortunately, she did those things because she felt stressed and felt like she had to. I forgave her. About a month ago, she asked me if she could have his number just to check the times for hanging out with her friends and him. I told her that she couldn't because I didn't want her having his number. I don't want anything bad happening or him saying something inappropriate to her. She was fine with it and didn't get his number. But around 3 days ago, she said that she met him while watching fireworks and got his contact. They have been texting for a bit now. Of course, I was mad and kind of sad that she didn't listen to me and still got his contact. I said I would forgive her if she just got rid of his contact, but she said that she wouldn't. She seemed very persistent, saying that she loved talking to him and he made her happy. That just made me even more mad. I kept asking her to get rid of his contact until she eventually said she did. Today, she told me that she lied to me and didn't actually get rid of his contact. She was still texting him. This made me feel worse because, first of all, she's happy talking to another guy and won't get rid of his contact. Second, she lied to me about getting rid of his number. She said she did, but she actually didn't. This made me mad, but most importantly, really sad because I started to wonder if she actually loved me. I would stop talking to any girl if she asked me to, but she won't get rid of just one guy for me. It made me feel worse when she said that she liked talking to him because when she feels bad, she goes and cries to him and he'll make her feel better. She said the same about me before, and now I got replaced by that guy. I told her how I felt, and she instantly started saying sorry and that she would do anything I wanted her to do. When I asked her to get rid of his number, she said no and changed the topic. I don't know how to feel right now because she says she loves me but won't do that for me. By the way, I don't think she's cheating. I just don't want him saying anything bad or hitting on her. But she doesn't think it's fair that I want her to get rid of his number. Relevant comments. She knows how you feel and has chosen to ignore your feelings. You should find someone who respects your feelings and boundaries after leaving her. Keeping him around is disrespectful to you in your relationship, and she knows it but likes the attention he gives her. She is willing to let you go to keep him around or doesn't believe you will break up with her over the issue because in her mind you are trying to control her. You just tell yourself you deserve better and a girl who's is more respectful towards you. Everyone in the other subreddit are saying the same thing. These are the signs every guy saw before they got cheated on. Do yourself a favor and listen to the commentators. So are you saying I should act before it's too late and I get cheated on? Yes, and this sub is not for asking advice, it's for posting fiction or real-life completed stories. By the way, she's already emotionally cheating on you when you said she goes to him for crying and he makes her happy. It hurts, man, but you have to do it. Trust me, 6 to 7 months down the line with proper healing techniques you won't feel a thing for her. Don't even bother looking for closure. Story 3. I know this is going to come across as first world problems. I am currently at a job where I earn about $250,000 a year. I have an opportunity for a job where I will get $640,000 a year. The caveat being that the new job is overseas. I will be gone for 4 months at a time instead of 4 weeks at a time. My girlfriend is unhappy. She says that she doesn't want me gone for that long, that she will get lonely. I tried to explain that I will only be doing this job for 1 or 2 years, and that the money I make sets us up for a bright future. We can pay off all our debts. We can buy a house. We can travel on my off time. She then said that she doesn't care about any of that and that if I'm gone for that long she might need company. I didn't understand at first and I said that we could get the dog she has been wanting to get. She said she meant human company. I said that she had lots of company at work and at school, and she was welcome to use our place to socialize all she wanted. She then spelled it out because I was stupid to think she was a decent human. She said that she wasn't going to go for months without sex. I said I completely understood and broke up with her. She is going crazy right now. She is at her sister's house and calling me and texting constantly. She says that I misunderstood and that she would never cheat on me. Like I said, I'm gone for a month at a time now, so I'm pretty sure she's been lonely before. I can't trust her and I'm not going to try and build a future with someone who can't think about plans. Some comments. I know this is out of context, but OP, would you mind telling me what job, position pays that much amount and in which country? I am just curious. Construction project management. Many remote locations have this sort of pay and schedule. I know a woman from Japan that is currently on assignment in Canada that has this schedule. How did you get into this field? Tried to get a degree in engineering. Failed horribly. Became a millwright. Moved my way up. Not the idiot. Either she genuinely meant what she said and she'd cheat, or she tried to emotionally manipulate you. Either way, she showed you her true colors and it's great that you walked away. Congrats on your new opportunity. Story 4. I've been dating my fiancé for 4 years and have been engaged for 7 months. We are trying to plan out a wedding for roughly fall next year. Her childhood was terrible and abusive, to put it mildly. Her parents were raging narcissists, and she was the scapegoat for her 2 brothers. She was abused and thrown out the moment she turned 18. She was, however, a great student and hard worker, so with some scholarships and a part-time job, she has a great career and is pretty independent. The problem is that she still had contact with her family. None of them have changed. Well, actually something has changed. They have become more financially dependent on her. They enjoy slowly creeping back into her life and emotionally blackmailing her for support or whatever she can do. They're not pleasant about it either. They're rude, smug, and generally enjoy being a nuisance. And my fiancé can't say no, no matter the horrible things they say or how they outright try and intimidate her openly. I've always known her family history and have always supported her through the issues with them. But in the last year or so they've become far more brazen and asinine. They come over to our house more often. They make messes all around the place. Her mother acts like she's the effing stepmother from Cinderella. Her dad drinks all my effing beer and empties out half the fridge. Her brothers stop by occasionally to act as mouthpieces for their parents. They practically trash the place and leave us to clean the mess. And where is my fiancé in all this? Quietly standing in the corner, practically shaking. I'm no fool here, there is legitimate trauma. There's her need to feel loved by them and her hoping they will appreciate her. Before one of you noble commenters states the obvious, she's been in therapy for this for years. I've tried to establish boundaries. For nearly 2 years I've been trying to push these sass clowns away. But this is her house she purchased, and no matter of contributions, financial or otherwise, will she let me have a say on who comes into her house. She's been beaten down mentally and emotionally by them for so long. She has told me recently that she wants to earn their approval, how they were right about her, how she needs to be better for them. I've had too many emotional conversations with tears and begging to count, hoping she will take the steps to get better. But she's an adult. I can't force her to do anything. I love her, but I can't help but feel so resentful of what she's doing. It's agonizing watching someone you love, someone who you know deserves so much better, openly destroy themselves for people like her family. It's been painful watching her cry herself to sleep one too many night because of them. I've tried too many times to help her get out of their clutches, but I have to think of the future. What happens when we have kids? What happens when she is postpartum and invites them over? What happens if there is a medical emergency for either of us? What if our finances get tight and they still demand money? This is the in-law family from hell and I won't be able to avoid them. Tomorrow I'm going to tell her how I want to delay the wedding until firm boundaries are established. If she resents, I walk. I can't do it anymore. I refuse to watch a slow death like this any further. Update. Talked to her and it went about as well as one could possibly expect. Currently getting myself set up in a hotel for a few days and working on possible long-term plans for moving out. Still a lot going on right now, but maybe sometime next week I'll be able to put everything together into one update. Update. The night after I made the first post, I had decided that I was going to have a heart-to-heart with my fiancée about her family. However, she came back from work the next day early and I already was off that day, so I initiated the talk a little sooner than I planned. Essentially, I told her how this arrangement was not sustainable. I did not feel comfortable marrying her due to how much involvement in her life her family has, and I certainly did not feel comfortable bringing a child into this world with them. I didn't want to tell her cold turkey no contact with them, but strict limitations to start with on then coming over, and what they can do around the house. I also requested couples therapy before marriage. She wasn't happy. She was just staring angrily at me while I spoke, then started yelling at me when I finished. She told me I don't understand their dynamic and it worked for her. I told her that they're abusive users who will bleed her dry and I have never seen them show any decency to her. She told me she just had to work harder for them to appreciate her. I basically yelled at her that a parent's child shouldn't have to beg and plead and work for them to be loved. I finally told her that she sets limits with them where I walk. She was livid, and since I was living in her house I was kicked out. So the past few days I have been staying in a hotel and have had my stuff taken out and put into storage. And frankly, it's been great. I am going to stay with family for a few weeks around mid-July, and after that I am going to go house searching for myself. I have spent the last couple days relaxing, catching up on movies and video games I haven't had time for, and could go back from work to a quiet room without her family tearing the place apart. Yesterday, however, things came to a head. We have basically been no contact since she booted me out. But I know every Saturday her family loves to spend the afternoon over and she uses me as a shield from their abuse. However, in a very petty move, I simply kept my phone muted all day and played Disco Ellison. I knew she would call back for help with her family, and at this point pure resentment was kicking in for her and I wanted nothing to do with her issues. By the end of the night she had sent me over a dozen texts, and finally 2 frantic voicemails begging me to come home. I decided to come over to check up on her. Long story short, she was sobbing in the living room, and when I came to talk to her she was practically crushing my back, hugging me and sobbing. I gave her time to cool off and asked what happened. Long story short, her parents and brother came by to gift money from her and say horrible crap to her. She wanted to have me come over to help, but I was ignoring her. And when she tried to have one of her friends help out and everyone basically said F that, it all started clicking in for her. She kicked her family out, but not before they said some utterly vile crap to her I won't repeat. She kept apologizing to me and told me over and over to come home. I told her plainly that I had started to build up heavy resentment towards her for some time, and while I loved her and understand it was trauma and not her being outright abusive, there was major issues that would need to be addressed if we were to move forward. 1. She sells the house and moves. We make roughly the same amount of money and we will buy a house together. I am a grown sass man and I will not live in a house I have no equal agency over. 2. Her family will never step a foot in it. They will never come over. They will be treated by me in a very threatening manner if they try and come in. 3. She gets a new therapist and we start premarital counseling. 4. She never makes me interact with her family. 5. We will go LC with her family right now, but make no mistake, we are working towards full NC on her end. I told her I love her. We have been together for a while now and have beautiful memories together, and I know she is suffering from abuse. But these are non-negotiable, and if she has a problem with any of them, then we have to go out separate ways. She told me she's realized for a while now that her family is toxic and unhealthy. She wants to make changes. She has accepted, but some of these will take a while to see through. For now, I am going to stay in the hotel until I head back to stay with my family. She is welcome to come over, but I have made it clear her house is not somewhere I want to go. Her and I are both off tomorrow, so we will spend the day here and maybe go out. This is obviously not over yet, but I might not post anything else until mid-August or so. Some comments. It's cute you think she won't continue to choose her family over you, but it's going to be even worse once you're legally bound by a home purchase. Right? They should probably stay living separately while they undergo counseling for a hot minute. At least until she can prove that she's able to stay away from her toxic sass family. The last thing you should be doing is locking yourself into a mortgage with someone you were just trying to leave. The serious RN, therapy and counseling come first. Then after some time, if things are going okay, you can think about the rest. Sounds like your GF definitely needs more help, and I truly hope she gets it. Going through abuse is something no person should go through. I also hope you seek some individual counseling, as well, as it seems like you have been pretty affected by your GF's family's abuse. I wish you both luck moving forward. I hope to hear better news in the future. Update. Despite all intentions of not updating until much later with the hopes of an improved relationship with my fiancée and her establishing boundaries with her toxic family, we are now broken up. Essentially what happened was, after last weekend where I left her for the time to deal with them herself, she seemed to finally grasp the situation and was open to changes, including boundaries and a possible move. We spent Monday and Tuesday hanging out in my hotel that I was staying in until I went back to my family for a couple weeks. The other night she was being very vague with texting when she originally was supposed to come over. She came much later than expected and I knew something was up. She basically unloaded on me how I was abusive, controlling, overly demanding, and unsupportive. It took me 5 effing seconds to figure out she was repeating verbatim some sort of rehearsed speech from her parents. And to be honest, I was so agitated at this point. Despite making a huge gamble on her, I decided to be a prick about it. I asked her if her family told her to say this. She said they suggested it to her, but she came up with it herself. Sure. I asked her to explain in detail what I did. She said I was living like a parasite off her. I reminded her that I'm paying 50 over 50 for her effing mortgage. 50 over 50 for utilities and groceries as well. I have my own car I pay for, a job that makes just about as much as hers, unlike her effing leech parents who demand payments on the weekly and raid the kitchen on the weekends. I told her to try again with something better. She looked flustered and said I was trying to isolate her. I kinda smirked like a jackass and told her that I have always supported her many friendships that she has destroyed on her own because no one wants to deal with her family or be used as a shield like me. I was practically demanding to know at this point why she is so hellbent on destroying her life for these people. She just kinda shouted that I don't understand her family and she's just trying to earn their love back, and was basically ranting at that point. It's just so staggering to see up close. I have ventured into a few subreddits to get perspectives, and if you have any familiarity with them, you'll see how people who are victims of abuse by their own family can be so utterly broken by it that it'll wreck their brain to where they truly believe they are the problem and they deserve the abuse. Well, that's how she was. She was utterly broken and didn't want help. She didn't want to get better, she just wanted to get worse. It hit me like a truck, honestly, the realization. I really did feel like a fool for trying, even if it was what I was supposed to do in the first place. She was practically berserk at this point and I was just mentally exhausted and needed her to leave before someone called the police. She finally left, but I had a few concerned neighbors check on me. Some of her friends are aware as they have messaged me checking on the situation. I told them the truth and that I just needed to be alone to think what to do next right now. They have revealed that she has given them similar rants after they expressed concern for her. One had even heard that she may be possibly at risk of losing her job. She is definitely having some sort of mental break. From my understanding, she is now completely isolated. She is actually sprinting into a horrible, lonely life right now. There's nothing I can do for her at this point, and as selfish as it sounds, I'm just glad it's going to be behind me. Relevant comments. Not the idiot OP. I was in the same situation as your GF, where my parents had convinced me that I was the problem and I was trying to make amends with abusive relatives who abused me and kept me isolated from my well-wishers. It took a divorce for me to wake up to abuse I was suffering from my family. It's like you know something is wrong with the way the world is acting with you, and the reference point is your family, who repeatedly silence any doubts you have with the situation and put the blame on you for being lazy and not putting enough effort to set things right. That's the level of control they have over you. Just cut contact with your GF. It is not worth the price to save her. Maybe extend her helping hand once she gets out of her situation willingly and completely. She projected all her family's nonsense onto you and in that moment became the abuser in the relationship. I left abusive narcissist parents and personally don't understand how any adult can grow up, figure out this is not normal or okay, get out, seek therapy, and then decide they want to keep doing this. She's got some kind of Stockholm Syndrome, complex PTSD by the sounds of it. It's not your job to fix that or be her meat shield for some nonsense she actively chooses to put herself through. She's an adult and responsible for her own mental health, as you are for yours. Dude, she's so Stockholmed. Years of institutionalization probably wouldn't even help her. I'm sorry because I get you loved her, but you can't set yourself on fire to keep her warm. Hope you can cut ties and move on. If you keep tabs on her, it will only bring you down when she continues to spiral even more.